Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by...
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.
Welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson-Silik, and we've got an exciting all-new show in store for you this week. We're going to take a look at a little archery season update. We've all been out in the woods since October 1st, but as usual, Jordan and Gabe have had the most excitement out there. We're going to show you a little bit of what their archery season has looked like so far, and Jimmy's got some other excitement in store for us this week too.
Well, that's right, Jenny. We do have a few more things on this week's show. After we take a look at those early season bow hunts, we're going to do a little goose hunting on this week's show, and at the same time help support the MSU chapter of Ducks Unlimited. You won't want to miss that. We're also going to look at some stuff that's going on the Kalamazoo River that as a sportsman you may want to be aware of. Lots of good stuff on this week's show. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger, and it's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors.
What a beautiful day in the woods.
Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's meat processor and Michigan destination since 1988. Offers a variety of homemade smoked meats and Michigan-made products in-store and online. The Country Smokehouse features an outdoor barbecue and bar. Details at countrysmokehouse.com. The Michigan Wildlife Council is dedicated to educating the public about the important role hunters and anglers play in supporting wildlife conservation for future generations. Learn more at hereformioutdoors.org. By GREENMARK Equipment. GREENMARK Equipment is a John Deere dealership network in southwest Michigan and northern Indiana. GREENMARK provides sales and services to farmers, commercial businesses, large property owners, and homeowners. Information about pricing and products available can be found online at greenmarkequipment.com.
DTE believes to lead, we have to do what's right. So we're tripling renewables and cutting carbon emissions in half over the next 10 years. DTE.
Well, here it is, the third week in October. It's starting to get a little bit colder outside, and those bucks are starting to chase just a little bit. We've been spending a lot of time in the bow stand, and to kick off this week's episode, we wanted to show you a few of Gabe and I's favorite hunts so far this year.
I think we were both a little caught off guard when this nice buck showed up at about 30 yards. Now all we needed for him to do was get a little closer and turn broadside.
Hard to imagine he's not going to turn towards us. Yep, there he goes. Okay, if he gets behind this spine for me, I'm going to draw back.
Just as Angela was getting ready to draw back, the buck winded us and turned around. Bow hunting isn't easy, and over the first 2 weeks of season, the hunting was pretty tough. I continued to get lots of pictures and videos, but most of the movement was at night. Finally, towards the middle of the month, I had an encounter with one of the nicer bucks I had on camera.
Well, it's October 13th. I'm in one of my favorite stands to sit during this kind of mid-October time frame. There's a bunch of oaks and hickories in here, pretty close to a bedding area. Just seems to produce some really good sits this time of year. I've been absolutely covered up in deer since I got in the stand. Actually took me about a half hour to even get the camera arm set up. And had a bachelor group of bucks kind of work their way in, a couple of real little guys, and then two decent bucks. One that I got a video of a couple weeks ago is really tall, 3-year-old buck. And I was getting ready to think about taking a shot. He was coming in and got to about 40 yards, but he was facing me and he was upwind, so I was just gonna let him keep coming. And somewhere along the way, he saw something he didn't like, or he heard something, I'm not sure. He was directly upwind of me when he spooked, but it's possible that my wind kind of backdraft or something. I'm not sure. So had him within range, but he didn't spook very bad. I highly doubt he'll come back by this morning, but good to know he's around either way. He's a beautiful, beautiful buck.
Although luck wasn't on my side the first couple of weeks, there's still plenty of time left, and I'm looking forward to the rest of bow season.
Well, I came in for a hanging hunt tonight on this leaning tree. There's no other way to get a tree stand in here. Normally I'd be hunting out of a tree stand, but this is where a tree saddle is perfect for this kind of setup. Ran in here, threw some steps up the tree, jumped in my tree saddle, and I'm all set. I can move around, and being it's a leaning tree, it's leaning away from me, I can still sit here nice and comfortably. I've got a scrape right down here that I've got a mock scrape. I put a cell camera on a couple days ago, and I've been getting a pretty nice buck moving through here back and forth, so I don't know if I want to shoot him. He's borderline, but I want to get a better look at him. He's got a big body on him, so. Meh. Well, just took a big doe. She came in behind me, so I didn't get much footage. That's the nice thing about a tree saddles, man. I can spin right around. I was expecting them to come over here, and I had to spin around and come way over here. Meh. She fell about 50 yards out there. I can see her right now. I can see a white belly. That was cool. Now, she ran that way, so I'm hoping a buck will come along. I can do the same thing with a buck. That's the buck right there that I was sitting here for. I didn't know if he was a shooter or not. I couldn't tell on the trail cameras. I mean, he is right borderline. And and he came right through. 20 yards away, he was right underneath me and then turned and went up the hill. And he walked right through my opening at about 20 yards. That's exactly why I sat here. That worked to perfection. That's nice. That's what the versatility of these hang-in hunt are. I've got a bunch of hawk sticks that I carried in here, put the sticks up, and then I sat in my saddle.
I was having a great first few days of the season. Seeing quite a few bucks within bow range was quite a treat. And while I didn't see anything yet that I wanted to put my tag on, I was able to put some venison in the freezer. A couple days later, I joined good friend Jason Schlack on his property to try to take a doe or a buck if one happened to walk in. Jason has done quite a few improvements in his few acres of land, and it is paying off year after year.
Well, tonight we thought we'd hunt a really big piece of property out behind my house, a whole whopping 5 acres. Got a food plot out here in front of us, and I got one decent buck on camera. Doesn't mean there's not more back here, but tonight, if a doe comes in, we're going to take that, and hopefully that nice buck shows himself, and I can make a decision if I want to take him or not. So I bought this property 20 years ago and decided to start hunting it about 15 years ago. And when I first bought it, it was a field. Basically no brush, no trees whatsoever. Just a CRP field, the whole 5 acres. And now it's a nice little haven for deer. It's super thick to my west, behind my neighbor's house and on my property on the edge. And it's just grown up extremely thick. So as you look over this food plot, it's pretty much a wall all the way around. You can't see out and the deer can't see in, so they have to commit to come in and see, come in and to feed. So hopefully tonight they do that and we get a great opportunity.
Within a half hour, we had deer moving into the food plot. It was now a waiting game to see if they'd move down the field towards the blind for a shot.
Trying to decide if they're going to come our way or not. One's working their way right now our way, so hopefully this will work out. All 3 of them are coming. The camera's out in the blinds, they're all gonna go wide. That one came by 30 yards. Pretty sure I put it right through the boiler room. I think we got ourselves a doe tonight. So I love shooting off this property, 5 acres.
All right, we got her. Got some good footage of her. One of the many does that need to be taken off my property. So glad I got one tonight, got one early in the season. Not like last year when I waited a little later than I probably should have and got it just before the rut, or during the rut I should say. But got a nice big doe.
This season has started off very well. We are seeing lots of deer and putting a few in the freezer. All in all, you can't ask for a better start to the bow season here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Well, here in Michigan, we have a lot of great conservation groups for sure, from all different species across the board, one of which, though, is Ducks Unlimited. They do a lot of good stuff here in the state of Michigan. In this next story, we're going to raise a little bit of money for the MSU chapter of Ducks Unlimited while doing a little goose hunting at the same time. A couple weeks back found me in southeast Michigan for a goose hunt with a fun group of guys. Good friend of the show, Joe Robinson, had agreed to take some folks out who had won this trip at a Ducks Unlimited auction for the MSU chapter. We were hoping for a good morning.
We have a lot of hunting pressure down here in southeast Michigan, and we let this field rest for this whole week, just for this fundraiser that you were part of, Ducks Unlimited, Michigan State University chapter. Ducks Unlimited is a great organization, great partner for a lot of folks, get a lot of habitat on the ground, conserve acres, so anything we do to help raise money for conservation is a great cause. Right now we're kind of in between where a lot of local birds that were hatched here were shot at, and they're getting pretty educated, but we had some cold fronts last week, some north winds, so we had those subadults. Those are the 1- and 2-year-old birds that don't breed. They're called molt migrators. You'll see the large groups of 20, 25 coming back from now until the first part of October. So we're getting fresh birds. That's what's really helping us right now.
Kill it. Someone shoot it. Kill it.
After a few lone birds came and went, the guys finally connected with our first bird of the day, which just happened to be a banded bird. Jeff Nielsen had actually hunted with Joe before and was very happy to have helped support the efforts of DU by taking part in today's hunt.
Well, thanks to DU. Yeah. Went to the banquet and lucky enough to get the draw to come down here today, and Joe's a great host. It's always fun to hunt with you, Jimmy. And our friends down there on the end, I think, drove from the other side of the state, and it's a beautiful morning, and it's nice to get out and break up the monotony of COVID and get together and spend some time with some friends.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for your help with DU.
You betcha.
Today was a picture-perfect day for sure. The decoys were bringing the birds in to take a look, and we were trying to get these flocks to set their wings and come on in.
Well, I think they ought to take that class at Michigan State University on how to shoot. I think they have a great world-class facility up there. But unfortunately, the singles that came in, quite a few shots were fired and only a couple fell so far. But
and then now these birds, are they flaring on us, or are they just not working right?
They're just not working to what I'm used to. I don't know what the deal is, if it's a sunlight, if it's shadows, but they're just not finishing. They're coming in and skirting the edges. And the other part that is happening is we're having beans being harvested all around us, so some of those geese just dumped in the bean fields that were cut. I'm sure that was some of the geese that were coming here. There's been about 125 to 150 coming in all week. This is just a clover field, and I'm not sure. It's end of the season, got a few days left, so they're definitely educated. But if our shooting was a little better, or I should say their shooting was a little better, we'd have a couple more.
Take them, shoot them.
Well, the shooting was finally improving. I had Braxton Wirt talk a little bit about how we ended up here today.
You were gracious enough to donate us a hunt to auction off at our spring raffle for MSU DU, and Ryan and the guys were lucky enough to win it. So we're really glad to be here. It's a really great time. Meet everybody, get out in the woods a little bit. It's real nice to we're spending most of our time behind the screens these days, so it's good to get out and get some sun. So MSU chapter is all MSU students, as well as we have a faculty advisor who helps out with our chapter.
Did you guys get out and do some hunts and stuff?
Yeah, we like to do a hunt every year. We do a lot of donating our time. We do wood duck foxes every spring. We do our banquet every spring as well. We just like to get out, donate our time, help out the wetlands and the wetland environment with conservation.
Awesome. Go green.
Yeah, go white.
Shoot that single, shoot that single, shoot that single.
Well, today was not exactly what we were hoping for as far as numbers of birds on the ground, but you know what? That's okay. We all had a great time, met some new friends, and had a good hunt and told lots of stories. And in the process, the MSU chapter of Ducks Unlimited was helped. More wood duck boxes will go up, and hopefully some new college-age kids will learn more about conservation and the role hunters play in it. Thanks to Joe and to all the guys for a fun day in the goose fields here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
We wrap up this week's show in southern Michigan, where I was able to learn more about a problem affecting anglers and recreational boaters on the Kalamazoo River.
So all the mud that you see, all this sludge up in this bank right here, all of this has come down from Morrow. None of this should be here. It's never been here before. The water usually goes all the way up to the tree line. I mean, this is all stuff that's ripped down from the lake bed from Morrow Pond. The dam had they called it an emergency drawdown in October of 2019. They said the project was going to take 4 months to fix the gate, so that's the real issue. They need to replace the gate. That's the whole reason they did this drawdown. So that would bring us into February of 2020. The problem with that is that's when COVID hit. So once COVID hit, communications between the dam owners and the DNR and Eagle, it all broke down. So no one was talking to each other. We come into March, April, May, and things are starting to get back to normal. People started hitting the river again and realized that everything is covered in mud. I mean, feet and feet and feet of mud, it's everywhere.
If you have never been on the Kalamazoo River, a lot of this might not look too out of the ordinary. But to those who have spent time on the river, the amount of new sediment in the system is shocking, and it's having negative effects on a variety of different wildlife.
Right? In this little back eddy, this should all be water right now. This has always been water back here. This is all the sediment, all the sludge, mud, whatever you want to call it, all this stuff back here. It's all brand new. This should not be here. It's all been ripped down from Morrow Lake, and it's just building and building and building. So what it's doing right now is all this mud, it's destroying habitat. I mean, it's an ecological disaster is what it is. All this mud, it's filling all the rocks, all the crevices, so crayfish, baitfish, all their little places where they hide, they're gone. They're under feet of mud right now. So right now we have extremely muddy water. The bait fish are gone. The insects are non-existent. All the aquatic insects, I mean, we haven't had hatches. I haven't seen any hatches at all this summer. They're gone. So with all of that going on, the fish don't have anything to eat. There's nothing left for them. And that's why the few fish that we do catch, they're all emaciated. I mean, we're catching fish that are missing fins. I mean, they're falling apart right now. And it's not just the fish. We're finding dead turtles. I think we found 4 in one day a couple weeks ago. I mean, it's getting absolutely ridiculous at this point that this is going on.
This is the boat launch at Growler Stadium on the south bank of the river. It's inundated with mud. You can't use it. You can't get in. As you can see behind me, there's a big, basically mud wall locking off the boat launch from the rest of the river.
And this was never like this in the past?
No, this is not. This is all a result of the dam being open since the end of October, early November, and the migration of mud from the pond above the dam.
One of the other main issues that we're having now with the lack of boat launches is what happens when someone needs a water rescue? What happens if a canoe or a kayak or a boater flips out of their boat? How does search and rescue get to these people? This boat launch is completely gone. There's not one for another mile, at least mile or two upstream, downstream. So what happens if someone needs to get out here in an emergency real quick? The boat launch is gone. They're going to have to find an alternate landing or launch point, whether that's off a bridge or a field. Regardless of where they launch, it's time lost.
At this time, the dam has yet to be fixed, and although there has been some proposed remediation, very little has been done to stop the flow of sediment downstream. Special thanks to Ryan and Herb for showing me around the Kalamazoo River and for highlighting a very important issue here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you stay tuned in upcoming weeks. All sorts of excitement unfolding here on the show this fall for you. We'll be bringing you some more deer hunting, of course. A very special deer hunt coming up next week you won't want to miss. We'll take a look at opening day of pheasant season up in the Thumb. We'll also check out some more upland hunting, a little bit of fishing, and you just never know where else we're going to be. If you'd like to see where we are and where we're headed next, you can always check us out online.
Well, that's right, Jenny. Online, always a great way to kind of keep tabs on us. You can do that through our website, our social media platforms, as well as our YouTube channel. You can subscribe there, get an email every time we post something new. Lots of good stuff coming over the next several weeks. We recently just got back from a multiple-day grouse hunting trip on Beaver Island and some of the surrounding islands there. You won't want to miss that. So much happening right now in our great state. Get out and enjoy it, and hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by.
Do you dream of somewhere bigger than your backyard? You can get there with Greenstone. Whether you want to hunt, fish, hike, or just watch the sunset, we're ready to help you own your place in the great outdoors. To learn more, visit greenstonefcs.com.
WorkingPerson.com. From the factory floor to the job site and into the field, WorkingPerson.com supplies work boots and shoes, workwear, safety gear, and more. For individuals or outfitting your whole team. Learn more at WorkingPerson.com.
By G5 Outdoors, makers of the Quest and Prime bows, manufactured and designed in Memphis, Michigan. G5 offers a line of archery bows, broadheads, and accessories on the web at g5outdoors.com. By Jay's Sporting Goods, with locations in Clare and Gaylord. Jay's has been serving the Michigan outdoor enthusiast since 1971 with a wide variety of outdoor products. The gear, the knowledge, the tradition of Jay's on the web at jaysportinggoods.com. Closed captioning provided by Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, East to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan